Classroom. Google Classroom, when COVID happened, my district adopted Google as their online platform. And so, even though we're in school right now full time, I still use Google Classroom for kiddos that have to quarantine, but I also use it in class a lot so that if there was another shutdown, or if, something happened on a large scale and I had all of my students using Google Classroom at the same time, the students understand how to navigate it. So I often assign Google Classroom assignments during class time. So in um my stream, it just kind of says all of the things that I have ever assigned ever. When I did have a couple of students that were in quarantine at the same time, I was posting the Google classwork on there. So the way that my Google Classroom is set up at the beginning of the year, you can see these sporadic times where I had students out. This is for a specific student, and then I have classwork, which is typically at the top of the list, and these are things that I have assigned during class time. And then it goes into the weeks that we were in COVID and I was assigning resources all of the time. So, big thing that I have used on uh Google Classroom is what I am doing right now, which is screen recording videos for students and parents to watch so that they can learn how to navigate a resource. So these are all the online resources. They are videos about how to log in or how to use some of our digital resources that students are going to be using regularly. And then I also posted YouTube videos on here with videos that we were watching in class or that we do watch in class regularly to help students with skip counting and patterns and syllables and our ASL song. And so I often use this for students to go back and refer to, not only when they are at home, but when they're in class. I also use Google Classroom to assign individual activities. And so if we are all working on addition, but some students are doing triple digit addition and some students are doing double digit addition with regrouping, and some students are doing single digit addition but adding three numbers, to try to get three or four different worksheets together can be difficult depending on what I have planned for that day or how much time I have to plan. So I use Google Classroom to assign differentiated activities in a pinch. Um, and so students also navigate it that way. The thing about Google Classroom is we really are working on digital citizenship because students have a lot of autonomy on Google Classroom to post and write things that they want. Now, I can, once a student has posted something, if it's inappropriate, I can delete it. But as we all know, sometimes students catch things before the teacher does. So, one thing that we do really work on is that this is myself and this is my principal, but all the students have access to messaging and talking to all of the other students and all of the other people on there. And so we really work on what is appropriate to post in the Google Classroom, what is not appropriate. How do we message Miss Sasha directly with our questions as opposed to like messaging the whole classroom? Even when we're typing, are we supposed to be using punctuation and capital, letters at the beginning of sentences? And what is okay, to post and what is not okay to post? Because as I teach children how to use these tools and they start to master them, they'll know how to do things on there that are not necessarily appropriate for every single setting. And so Google Classroom is a great way to kind of teach students what some of the rules that we have regarding digital citizenship. Another thing that I love using Google Classroom for is when I am providing videos for students, or it's something that needs to be more self-paced. For example, when we did the guided drawing of the astronauts, doing guided drawings as a whole group can sometimes be hard because having to, well, I'm not there yet, well, I'm ready to go to the next stage and I'm ready. And so posting the video on here and allowing students to work at their own pace in a confined amount of time has been really, really great for us, because I tell my students all the time, everybody learns at their own pace. Everyone's not going to learn the same things at the same time. Everyone's not going to be good at the same things at the same time. And so Google Classroom is another way for self-pacing to happen, where I can leave the kiddos that are good with that specific content area to their own devices and really hone in on students that are struggling with certain things. And that's our Google Classroom.